Welcome into the 1-0 Sports Show. We have a really packed show for you today, and we are very excited to get to it. But we wanted to open our show with a moment of silence for Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and the other 7 people who were aboard the helicopter last Sunday, and their families and everybody else who was affected by this tragedy.
Texas finally 1-0, finally riding for the brand, although Tom Herman did say they were 1-0 10 times last season.
Feinbaum, I'll give him like half a point.
Dude, you like
okay.
Feinbaum way too much.
Yeah, all right. I'm like
You're
I'm the Feinbaum of this show.
By the way, that looks Ohio State. Is that an omen? Give me that Longhorn hat.
Oh man!
Hook him, baby.
All right, he's pulling the torso.
Hello, welcome to a new episode of 1-0 Sports. I'm your new host, Daniel Shiji, replacing Thomas Fisher this week.
Replacing?
Well,
no, for the week.
that's rotating.
It's rotating.
Okay, it's a rotational, rotating
It's good to have, I wanted to open up. It's good to have a fresh face here, Daniel. I'm very excited for today.
I hope you're not seeing color today.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see. We have a lot.
We have a lot.
To.
Yeah, we have a Super Bowl preview with Zach Leff. We're going to do Super Bowl prop bets. Obviously, we're going to go through men's basketball. A lot of stuff to go through today again. And let's just start with who's hot, who's not. Let's go with Robert. What's your who's hot for this week?
My who's hot, the future of the NFL. Super Bowl 54 coming up, the 49ers and the Chiefs. I could talk all day long about Mahomes, third year in the NFL, Garoppolo, 28 years old. You see this play right here from Mahomes, established himself as the best quarterback in the world. I think so with that play right there. I don't think any other player could make that play except maybe Lamar Jackson, and you know where he is. He's on the couch after the first round. I'm very excited. You look at Lamar Jackson. He's super young. You look at the Tennessee Titans. They have youth. I mean, they have Derrick Henry. You look at the Seahawks, Russell Wilson. It's a stretch to call him young, but he's certainly not at the back end of his career.
Definitely,
I think this is good for the NFL. I think that Mahomes can be a dominant force for years to come. I hope he is. I hope this isn't a Dan Marino situation. I hope we have many more Mahomes Super Bowls, you know, unless the Colts have something to say about it.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited right now in the NFL. It looks like there's just a new era.
Yeah, and it's so refreshing to not have Tom Brady in the Super Bowl once again. And we're going to talk about it later in C Block, like we said. My who's hot, Dusty Baker. He inherited a World Series finalist roster with minimum staff changes other than obviously the head coach. A.J. Hinch is out because of the scandal. And they welcome in one of the winningest coaches in baseball, and he's 70. He's not young, so he's going to bring some those old traditional ideas. But again, none of the other staff are changing, so you still have that analytic-based baseball approach, spearheaded by the front office and the assistant coaches, and you have an older coach bringing in traditional values and traditional ideas, and he wins, man. Yes, he didn't win the World Series when he was with the Nationals, and that's why he was gone. But they were winning when Dusty Baker was there. And for Dusty Baker to come out of retirement and to inherit such a great roster, I mean, yeah, they lost Garrett Cole, but they're the favorite to play the Yankees probably the Yankees in the American League Championship Series. Other than probably, I don't know who's coming out. I don't think that anybody in the AL Central is going to be the Astros.
I agree.
So,
you need that leadership.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into who's not so hot this week. Daniel, who's not?
Well, okay, so we're going to stay with baseball. The Big 12 baseball coaches, the Big 12 released their preseason coaches poll, and there were 4 different teams receiving first place votes from other coaches, and that's not generally such a big deal, but even West Virginia, who's predicted to finish 7th in the Big 12, got a first place vote. Texas got a first place vote. It's Texas, so it's hard to argue. It's easier to argue for Texas, and TCU obviously predicted to finish 3rd. but West Virginia also got it first. Like, what were they like? How were they filling out the thing?
I mean, this is the beauty of ranked choice voting. I'm sure there's a CGP Gray video out there about it, but at least we can all agree generally Texas Tech is the favorite coming in.
Yeah.
So at least there's a clear-cut favorite. But
Yeah.
as you said, everything besides that is just all up in the air.
Yeah.
Wacky that the 7th place team overall gets a first place vote.
Yeah.
Don't know who voted that. Let's get into my who's not. We'll stick within the media realm. Pardon
Okay.
my take. Probably the #1 sports podcast on earth right now. Big Cat, PFT commenter, attempted to sneak into Super Bowl Media Day as old people. That did not work out well for them. So, Daniel, I got to ask you, as a fellow member of the
Sure.
media, I know you would never do this, but if you could sneak into any media event, what would it be, and how would you do it?
Well, I'm a Yankee fan, and so I really wanted to go to the Garrett Cole press conference, gonna go and go like, hey, when am I gonna get my ring, or when am I gonna get my World Series gear? So that's like every time the Yankees bring a huge player, which haven't been done for a couple years now, I want to sneak into that one because obviously we're not New York based. And somehow if I would fly to New York, that's definitely the one thing that I want to do. But I don't know, what about you?
I'm going to make sure that I never get an NBA credential in my life because I'm going to say the NBA Finals. I mean, I'd love to be in like a Game 5, Game 6
Right.
press conference.
Yeah.
Oh, it's worth sneaking in.
Yeah.
I mean, and then if you get kicked out, I mean, everybody's just looking at you.
Yeah.
Just go limp. They have
Yeah.
to drag you out of there. But definitely, how would I do it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably, I think like, I don't think there's a lot to it. You just make the fake pass and you roll in. You don't want to draw attention to yourself.
I feel like it's probably not too difficult because you got all these random people there.
Yeah.
You know, Steph Curry brought his daughter in, all that. Like, you got all these family members from the winning team. So that doesn't, I don't think it's going to be that terribly hard to get into the NBA Finals press conference. Let's move on to the Paul Feinbaum of the week. And this is from at Boozy Nag. I think it's a Texas Aggies account. And on Twitter, he said this week that the SEC is a better academic conference than the Big 12, which honestly, when I read that, I was like, are you kidding me? You got Arkansas, you got Mississippi, you got Mississippi State, you got Alabama, and you got and Auburn in there. And you're telling me the Big 12 is worse than the SEC in academics.
Well, you can see right there they got ratioed pretty heavily. 9 responses, no retweets, no likes. So it's not like at boozing ag, has a lot to build on as far as a following. But Texas, man, I got to say the Texas social media team, that was probably the biggest L of 2019 as far as like you putting the 2.89.
Yeah.
You just wish you could take some stuff back.
At least Texas baseball has a 3.1, and that's above a 3.
That's true. All right, speaking of deleting your Twitter, we have this week on Delete Your Twitter, A&M as well. So Texas recruits moving up in the rankings. Bijan Robinson, Jaquinton Johnson, you have Alfred Collins. Let's get to the tweet. I mean, A&M, it's not so much a tweet, more it's just a mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of rough when you have Texas recruits moving up the rankings and still the disrespect coming Texas's way.
I mean, yeah, at this point, just delete your Twitter because you can complain about it all you want, but at the end of the day, the people running 247 Sports are not looking at what A&M thinks of how they rank players.
Yeah.
And honestly, I personally think that, obviously the stars matter in terms of ranking recruits, but they don't reflect on how good the player would be after graduation. And that's really the important part.
So do you think there is a boost that's given just because they go to Texas, or is that just a ridiculous allegation?
That's a conspiracy theory, and at the end of the day, they did add stars to Texas recruits. I'm pretty sure they added stars to other players, but Texas just ended up with 3 of them that did get a bump. So yeah, I don't think.
All right. I agree with you there. We're going to stick with Texas sports. When we come back, we're talking basketball. We're talking Shaka Smart. What can Texas do? Is he going to keep his job? What's going on? We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Want to know sports.
Welcome back to Want to Know Sports. Right now, we're going to go a little bit in depth, probably a little bit more debate about the men's basketball team on the 40 acres. They're not really good this year. And I mean, there wasn't much expectation coming in, but still, nobody expected them to lose, 30-odd points to West Virginia on the road. Does Shaka finish this season?
I think he definitely does. I don't think it's like Chris Del Conte to fire somebody in the middle of the year, unless the FBI is getting involved, like with Michael
Right.
Center. Didn't want to go there, but now that I went there, I think he definitely finishes the season. I think barring a small run in the NCAA tournament, he's going to be gone at the end of the season, whenever it's all said and done. I don't think that he's getting the job done right now. I think he's going to be gone after this year. What do you think? Do you think he finishes?
So yeah, he definitely finishes because there's no
like we agreed on that.
there's no benefit in firing a coach during a season, but the part that I disagree is I don't think CDC is going to fire Shaka Smart after the season because he still got 3 guaranteed years on his contract. That's $9 million, and I know Texas got the money.
yeah.
Texas got the money, but they're not coming from the men's basketball team. So that's the one thing that I'm not sure. As much as Texas cares about men's basketball, it's the third sport in the Big Three. Texas cares about football. They care a little bit more. They care a bit less about baseball, and they care a little bit less about men's basketball. And the Moody Center is opening up in 2 years. So I think that's when it's a good timing to bring a new coach to sell tickets for the Moody Center.
See, but I think it'd be better to get a new coach before they move to the Moody Center. I think you get a new coach right out of the gate. That would be a great culture change, like a lot at once, and I don't know if the program could handle that. And I think, honestly, Shaka's kind of just a symptom of like the Texas basketball program, and like you said, it's like third most important for Texas. So it's just not being taken seriously enough. And I mean, Shaka's a great coach. We saw what he did at VCU. We know like the havoc teams that he can run. I mean, he has a lot of talent. I think this has a lot more to do with Texas. And I mean, I don't know. Choosing the next coach is going to be really important.
Yeah. And just right before we move over, Moody Center is opening up 2 years. So he's got. If you bring in one more coach, new coach 1 year before the Moody Center opens, he's got 1 more year, and that's $3 million that you are gonna give it to nobody. Well, you're not gonna spend on anything rather than spend 1 more year at Shaka Smart, bring a new coach 1 year before the Moody Center opens, set a new culture, move in, and let's win some tournament, or let's go into the tournament with a big run. But if Texas is going to bring a new coach, doesn't matter when it is, who do you think Texas is going to bring in?
Well, I got to look at the man in Lubbock, Chris Beard, Texas Tech's head coach. And here's the thing, this is what I was talking to you about, like why the program is just in disarray.
Yeah.
And it's because why would you go to Texas now for the job when you can get anything that you want at any other school? Chris Beard does not need to leave Texas Tech. They were in the national championship game last year, Elite Eight the year before that. He doesn't need to go to Texas to have that success, and now they're recruiting better than Texas. Kansas is still the juggernaut that it always has been and pretty much always will be as long as Bill Self is there. But to Chris Beard, can you please just come? I mean, just do us a solid. We got the Moody Center. Maybe we can get you a little more cash if that's what you want. I know you like Whataburger. We have that down here too. That's not only a Lubbock thing. So, Chris Beard, please, who would you take?
So I feel like, again, Texas is going to find a new coach when the Moody Center opens. So if they're going to go with a new coach after this season, it's going to be a transition coach. And Tony Amaker at Harvard, I mean, I know him because I've heard of this name because I've been watching the Linsanity documentary, and he was with the Linsanity Jeremy Lin squad when Jeremy Lin was at Harvard, and he's done a pretty good job at Harvard. 64% winning percentage in the Ivy League, 7 Ivy League championships, 4 NCAA tournament appearances. That's more than Shaka Smart, by the way. And he's on an Ivy League team. So I don't know. If Texas is going to bring a transitional coach, which I think they are, bring a coach, probably change things around, bring this high-octane offense that he always has, get the guards more involved in the offense, and I think if he does a great job, we can keep him. If he doesn't do a good job, you're going to find a new coach anyway for the Moody Center. So I think he's a good transition, a good under the radar guy, but. I just got to ask you this: why did we come to this discussion between who Texas is gonna pick? Because Shaka Smart was gonna be this new coach, this young coach. He's gonna bring so much success, back in 2015, 2016, and now we're looking at him now, thinking that he's definitely gone in next year, if not in a couple more years. So why did he not pan out?
Yeah, I mean, hope always springs eternal when you make a hire. And the first year, I mean, 20 wins. I mean, if you look at it, the 2 of his first 4 years was an NCAA tournament appearance. But what marks Shaka Smart's tenure is so disappointing is the fact that both of those, it was just round of 64. There was no Sweet 16. There was no even like round of 32 run. So I think that was why Shaka didn't really pan out, was they weren't winning the big games. And you know, I think he should have been given a lot more time. That's what I was arguing last year. He needs another year. He needs another year. Well, he's had another year.
Yeah.
And this program just looks like it's not in a good spot. Not in terms of, oh, they're not winning, but the culture's there. I don't think the culture of winning is there.
Yeah, and definitely. And you brought up the Havoc offense when he had at VCU. We're not seeing that Havoc defense, and I don't know why he decided to put that away, because that's what made him so successful. Yeah, that's what made him successful at VCU, and that's why Texas brought him in. He decided to not use that, and for the first couple of years, we've been saying he hasn't been using his recruits. His recruits hasn't been there yet, but now he's 5 years, 6 years in. Matt Coleman was his recruit, and he recruits those one and down players, Mo Bamba, Jackson Hayes. That's not a way to build a successful college basketball program. Look at how Villanova is building the program. They find players that's going to stay for 4 years rather than just staying for a couple months and then leave for the NBA. And so I think there are a lot of problems, a lot of holes that Shaka has in terms of building a program at Texas. I mean, again, it's Texas. Why it shouldn't be that hard? And that's the same argument everybody's making in all the sports. It shouldn't be that hard to build a decent, competent program at Texas. And so far, we're not seeing that.
Well, I think we're seeing in the age of globalization, and you can get anything anywhere. You know, name brands aren't that big anymore. You don't need the Texas name brand to make a big program, but I mean, it's a little bit disappointing for Texas, but I think it's time for a fresh face.
Yeah.
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 Well, we can agree on that. When we come back, we'll get to some stuff that we're really not going to agree on, and that's a Super Bowl preview. Zach Left's going to be in to join us. We're talking everything, top storylines, offense versus defense, which is the whole game, special teams maybe even. We'll throw that in there for you. Be sure to stick around. Want to Know Sports Show. Welcome back into the Want to Know Sports Show. We're here in the locker room. Since it's Texas, it's turned all the way up to 80 degrees. Yes. Welcoming in Justin Morris.
Hot.
How are you doing today, Justin?
I'm doing all right. You know, I'm not Zach Left, but you know what? We'll keep on trucking. That's what we do here.
Yeah, it's next man up policy.
It's
next man up mentality. Okay, we're getting right into it. The big game this Sunday. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. Super Bowl.
Oh, trademark.
We just got fined on that one.
Dang it.
Okay, so
Not
what are your
again.
first thoughts on this matchup?
Well, it ought to be a pretty exciting matchup between the Chiefs and the 49ers. One thing that was kind of interesting, I saw an ESPN graphic, or maybe Sports Illustrated or something like that, just kind of highlighting the past Super Bowls in Miami. And, you know, the past Super Bowls that have been in Miami have just been like top tier ones. You know, people like Peyton Manning, John Elway have won MVP among a bunch of other greats. So if it's anything amongst, you know, if this can be amongst one of the great Super Bowls like that, then it ought to be a really good one. So just something about South Florida, man. Something about South Florida.
There is. You go back Super Bowl 41. Colts over the Bears.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, in the rain, Prince doing the halftime show. Man.
No Colts bias here.
No Colts bias at all. Okay, so let's get through some top storylines.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's being focused on. Daniel, we're going to start with you, then I'll take it. Then we'll go to Justin's big storyline. So what are you looking for?
I think, again, it's so refreshing to not have Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. And we're going to have two quarterbacks, both very young quarterbacks, battling it out. And it's going to be, it's going to be fun. It's going to be, like you said earlier, it's going to be about this new group of young players coming up, taking over the NFL, and show the world that who they are. And you got Garoppolo, who, you know, was behind Tom Brady for all those years, and you got Patrick Mahomes, who's basically the icon of this new stylish vertical offense, and you just got all these new era stuff coming in, and finally they have taken over and just throw Tom Brady out of the way and say, we're gonna take over, we're gonna be the new mainstream NFL, and we're gonna be in the Super Bowl, and you're not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're bringing up all the young guys. The storyline I'm looking at is this is like the Avengers. Because you look at Andy Reid, he went to the Super Bowl with the Eagles, they fell. Then you have, of course, Kyle Shanahan, 28-3. That's something that, nobody else has had to get over. So one of these coaches is going to come out of this game completely heartbroken, having lost 2 Super Bowls. That's the way I look at it, glass half empty. And then one of the other coaches is going to come out, having avenged their loss. So I really want to see both of these guys want it bad. Andy Reid is a legendary head coach. He could go in the Hall of Fame right now.
We got an Andy Reid right here.
We do Andy Reid impersonator.
An Andy Reid impersonator in here. But that's what I'm really most looking forward to. Justin, what's your storyline?
Yeah. You kind of talked about it. Last year we had the Rams and the Patriots. It was kind of, young versus old and stuff like that. But this year, it's 2 very exciting new teams. And what's really interesting is the 49ers have just been able to recruit a bunch of people to get to the 49ers. Big name that comes to mind is Richard Sherman, was playing with the Seahawks and stuff like that. Gets a Super Bowl with them, and now he's coming to play for the 49ers after the Seahawks kind of like shoo him off. So, he's kind of avenging that as well. And he's a big hype guy for that defense too for the 49ers. So that'll be a really good contest for, a high-powered offense like Kansas City.
Yeah, you mentioned Richard Sherman, the 49ers defense. So we're going to go through the Chiefs offense and the 49ers defense, and then we'll flip it around and we'll see who do you think has the advantage on each side so we can kind of break down the game a little more. So first off, the Chiefs offense, obviously led by Patrick Mahomes against that 49ers defense boasting Nick Bosa, and that was a little tongue twister there, and Richard Sherman. So who do you all think has the advantage on that side of the ball?
You want to go first?
I think it's going to be a shootout, so I'm going to pick the offense here. And look, it's Patrick Mahomes. Okay, you're not going to pick against Patrick Mahomes until he's been proven that somebody can actually catch him or get him. He's fast, he's elusive. Look at, again, we played that quarterback, we played that play a little bit earlier where he was just scrambling around and got into the end zone with a couple seconds left in the second quarter. That was, that's just Mahomes. That's, that's just, what's the word? That's just Patrick Mahomes right there.
That's the word.
Yeah, that's the word. That's vintage Mahomes right there.
Vintage Mahomes.
And so you're gonna see that a lot. If the D line, and you just mentioned Niners D line and linebackers are really good, but again, Mahomes is there because he can run, he can escape, he can get out of the pocket, and if he can do that, I think the Chiefs' offense is going to be just fine.
Yeah, I could not agree more with what Daniel just said. And one thing that is really important to keep in mind is you can't count that guy out. And we definitely saw that whenever we saw him play Houston. That was a good example of, Chiefs went off to the hottest start, and Houston kind of took advantage of it. But Patrick Mahomes hit the gas pedal and did not lay back whatsoever. So that game to me was the epitome of like what a high-powered offense is. And I know the 49ers defense is really good, but it's going to be pretty hard to compete with the team like Kansas City.
Yeah, I'll take Kansas City's offense any day. I love the way they use RPOs with Mahomes instead of running the ball. So we'll see. If they can do that, I think that's going to open up the game for them. All right, now flipping over the other end of the ball, I feel like this is a lot more nuanced. Mahomes, all that gets all the attention. But you have Jimmy Garoppolo, you have their running back by committee, they have Matt Breida, they have Tavon Coleman, they have, who's the other guy, Mostert. These guys you didn't foresee being the running backs in a Super Bowl, but they're all here. Who do you think has the advantage on that side of the ball, Justin?
Yeah, I'll take the 49ers on this one. I know I'm picking both offenses, but you know what? Daniel said it best, it's going to be a shootout. And I'll tell you why. It's because that the 49ers have this a little bit different kind of swagger to them. It's a little opposite from the Kansas City. They have the glimmering lights, even though it's Kansas City. It's the glimmering lights of Patrick Mahomes. Kind of opposite with that. But they got this ragtag group of guys that are kind of, just been able to take down teams throughout all the season. And, I know looking back, there's, some NFL projections that had them going like 3-13, and now they're playing for the Super Bowl. So they just kind of had this like ragtag, like I said, feeling to them that I feel like they'll be able to, compete against Kansas City whenever they're driving the ball.
Again, like I said earlier, it's going to be a shootout, so I'm going to pick the offense here. But the Niners offense have a little bit bigger task than Mahomes and the Chiefs offense. They really need to establish their run because Garoppolo, like you said, is not as elusive. It's not as fast and not as electric as Mahomes. And so they hand the ball a lot to the running backs by committee. If they can establish the run and give Garoppolo time behind the pocket, they're going to be successful. But again, Garoppolo is young. He's a young quarterback. He needs that time. He needs that confidence early in the game just to set himself right. And again, it's a big game. It's not like he never started the Super Bowl. He's been there a lot, but he's never started the Super Bowl. And so if you give him the confidence, the time, by using their running game, establish that run, Garoppolo is going to be successful.
Yeah, I think this game's all going to come down to Garoppolo because he's going to need to make those throws to set up the running game. And if they do that, I think the 49ers have way more of a consistent chance than the Chiefs. I think the system plays well, but they're going to have to start well early, and they're going to have to play consistently because, I mean, they might need one of those 300-yard games from their running back because these Chiefs can come back from a 24-point deficit in a single quarter.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the offense, too, so we all agree.
What a terrible show, guys.
I told you we'd be disagreeing. We did not. We're all taking the
Dang
offense.
it, we're boring.
But that means I don't know if we agree on who's going to win these games. We're going to have the picks coming up in a few moments with Thomas Fitch as well here to join us. But coming up next, stick with us. We're going with the best things on Twitter. Stay with us, the 1-0 Sports Show. Welcome back into the 1-0 Sports Show. We're back at the desk, me and Daniel Shee. We're going to get into what's trending, starting off with Juwan Mitchell, linebacker at Texas. He enters the transfer portal. Led Texas in sacks going into the bowl game with 3, if you can believe that 3 led the team in sacks. He left the field after the Texas Tech game. I was there with TSTV Sports before the eyes of Texas. It was interesting. All the reporters were there watching him just leave. So everybody kind of made a note of that. But what's your take on, one of Texas's, he wasn't a big starting guy, he's just a sophomore, but, he had 3 sacks, led the team going into the bowl game. How do you feel about him transferring?
Well, it's definitely a loss for especially the starting 11 defense. I think going into his junior year, having so much playing time in his second year, he was going to be that important guy at the linebacker spot for next year. But this is something that, not that you would expect, but you would probably prepare for, knowing that you had a new coaching staff coming in. Obviously, if they had kept Orlando and all of that coaching staff, they had a much bigger chance of keeping Juwan Mitchell. But now that obviously new coach coming in, that's probably just accelerated, just put the final straw into him leaving Texas. Honestly, I feel like it's gonna hurt in terms of the starting 11. But the coaching, the defensive coaches at Texas have much bigger problems to face in terms of putting the new culture in, getting the new playbook in, and just developing the players in their own way, and try to get rid of the Orlando way. And so this is not. I don't think this is like the top priority thing that Chris Ash is thinking about.
Yeah, and then Texas, you can always re-up. So they're about to add 4-star prospect Prince Dorba. You got 3-star Jalen Ford at the linebacker position. So you never have a want for guys with talent. But like you said, I mean, some sort of experience is always beneficial. I think a lot of people took for granted the fact that Texas had to replace 8 defensive starters this last year, and then you saw that against LSU. You saw that in the grind of conference play when they just kind of ran out of gas, and that's where all of their losses piled up. I think after that OU loss, it was just really demoralizing. So I think it's a little bit of disappointment, but you expect this in college football. People transfer; it's just a part of the game now. But good luck to him. Hope he makes the right decision for himself.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's just gonna be fun to see. It's just gonna be interesting to see where he lands after he leaves Texas. Moving on, we're going to basketball. The NBA released their new All-Star game format, and in honor of the late Kobe Bryant, so the first 3 quarters is gonna be a normal game, and then after the third quarter. How the game's going to be decided is the team that scores 24 points plus the amount of points that the winning team has after 3 quarters is going to win. So, for example, if after 3 quarters is 100 versus 95, LeBron versus Giannis, then the first team that reaches 124 points wins the game. And Honestly, I don't know how I feel about this one because I mean at first I was neutral. I was like, okay, that's not gonna make me tune in to the All-Star game. I never did. But what I saw, somebody on Twitter, I forgot who it was, said that Kobe would not want this, and I think I agree. I don't think Kobe would have wanted this if he saw this. All I think the All-Star game and the All-Stars should do is to go out there and play like it's a real game. I think that will be truly in honor of Kobe. That just go out there, compete, work your behind off, and try to win that game.
Yeah, my favorite thing about this format, I don't think we mentioned it thus far, but the first 3 quarters, like at the end of every quarter, the score is going to reset to 0. And they're just going to play the quarter, and I think the winner of that quarter, I think between Giannis and LeBron's team, gets a certain amount of money for their charity, like $100,000 for those quarters, and then quarter 4 is worth $200,000, and then obviously with the 24-point thing. I'm interested though, Daniel, for you to tell me, like, why don't you think Kobe would want this format?
I think if he were here, he wanted to see a full game, a 48-minute, full out, and he didn't.
You're talking about like the fact that there's a target score.
Yeah, like the way they're doing it, I think changing the game a little bit.
I think that lends itself to way more competition, especially if this one gets close, because then it's like 21 where you're really balling for a score, rather than like the time. Especially if one team goes up by 10. Then they're running out the clock. It's kind of garbage time. Whereas I love the untimedness, because if this game gets close, especially with the 24, with Kobe being so important to so many people, this night is already going to be full of tributes to him.
Yeah.
I don't know if one team would wear 8 and the other would all wear 24. This seems like the one game where you could do something like that, because calling fouls would be pretty easy. Like in terms of everybody knows who everybody is, they're all famous. Usually, like that's on Giannis. You can keep the numbers pretty well, but I mean, I don't know. I think Kobe just means a lot to so many people. If this game gets close in the 4th quarter, it's going to be really exciting because everybody's going to want to win that.
Yeah.
I'd love to see LeBron versus Giannis actually going at it. This has the potential to be probably one of the better All-Star games of all time.
Definitely.
I'm going to be watching. All right, let's move on to putting stuff on boats. I don't know what it is with this organization and putting stuff on boats, but we love it here. And I guess they listened, because Roger Goodell and the NFL are putting this year's draft, first of all, in Vegas, plus move. So you have the Raiders now there, the Las Vegas Raiders. Then you bring the NFL draft. Then you say we're doing this by the big fountain. I'm sorry, that was so offensive to whatever fountain that is. But I just call it the big fountain from Ocean's 11. Caesar's Palace. Thank you. I got it from the audience up there. They're putting it on a boat. So you get drafted, you get on the boat, and you go over to Roger Goodell. How do you feel about this pomp and circumstances? We're seeing the graphic up there. How do you feel like this is going to go on TV?
Well, I know how it's going to look in Jonathan Polasic's eyes. It's going to be amazing for him, our TSTV Sports alumni. But I don't know. It's just one of those, like, I've only watched one draft, NFL draft, and in that draft I've only watched the Kyler Murray pick. Like, I was like, that's the one that the number 1 pick is what I was waiting for. I don't know. I had to sit there and then watch Goodell go on stage, after like 10 minutes of waiting who's gonna be who they're gonna pick, and then go like, whoever number 1 pick is, that's just for Tua is gonna be the first pick, and then so Tua has to get that message from TV, and then they're gonna go to him, put him on the boat, and probably wear a life vest because it's a boat. It's a boat, so they have to put a life vest on, and then wait for him to go from wherever he is to the middle of the stage, take the vest off, get on the stage, talk to Goodell, get the jersey, wear the vest again, and then get on the boat to leave the place. It's just a lot of stuff.
I'm gonna counter you. I don't think anybody's gonna be wearing any sort of vests. I don't foresee Tua putting on a vest. I don't know. I like this idea. It's cool. I think he's doing it by a fountain so he doesn't have to hear the boos, personally. But I think it's cool to put this in Vegas. I always thought the NFL should move to Vegas. I'm very excited for that, opening up the potential for sports gambling to be more accepted, be more widely accepted. Hopefully we can get that nationwide. but that's a matter for another time.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this draft. I think the NFL made a good move. You know, you should always be trying new things.
Right,
You know,
definitely.
move it from different places. Don't stick in a Radio City Music Hall. I'm really excited with how they're doing this.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our last topic of this block, and that's the top 3 Kobe moments of his career, right? That's we're limiting it mostly to just his career on the floor. I had an honorable mention of him as a dad, but we're going to keep this more on the floor. What's your number 3? We'll go from the bottom up.
Well, number 3, shooting the free throws with torn Achilles. And again, we talked about it on my podcast earlier. Yeah, the fact that he shot 2 free throws in the playoffs with torn Achilles is literally the most Kobe thing I can think of. You're talking about a full week of work, a full, a full month of just torn Achilles. That's just amazing. And then obviously number 2, the NBA Finals of 2010, when he passed it basically at the end. Obviously at the end of the finals, he passed it to Ron Artest to win that NBA Finals. But yeah, that was an all-time classic final again between them and the Celtics. And then, are we going number 1? Obviously, the 81 points against Jalen Rose and the Raptors. You're not gonna see that. You're probably gonna see that again, but like not at the magnitude of Kobe scoring 81, because that hadn't been done for so long. Now, like you see James Harden scoring all these points, and that's not gonna be such a big deal anymore. But Kobe back then, when everybody's scoring 20 points, 30 points, he went out there and scored 81 on the Raptors and Jalen Rose, and that's gotta be on the top of the list.
Yeah, that personified who he was, especially because you hadn't seen a guy since obviously Wilt put up 100. But I mean, you just can't even imagine. Like, I can't imagine in my mind how much 100 points must have been that night.
Yeah.
How dominant was he? How much did he score? Like, what did that game look like? Which, unfortunately, we don't have any video footage of that one. But we do with Kobe's 81. And it's crazy to just how hard he was playing. And I think my favorite moment was probably the torn Achilles. Not favorite moment for him, but shooting those free throws was the most inspiring, because I think we can all take something from that, which is, you know, we all don't have to tear our Achilles and then go make the free throws.
Yeah.
I don't think it was about making the free throws. I think it was about him just getting up and shooting the free throws.
Yeah.
If he had missed them, it would have still, of course he made them because he's Kobe Bryant, but even if he had missed them, I mean, it would have been just as legendary.
Yeah.
And I think we can all do something like that in our own lives, where, you know, you don't have to tear your Achilles to show up and then keep putting in your best every single day. So yeah, that's probably, if we're going out of our 3, that's my top moment.
Yeah, and the funny story I want to bring up for the 81 points. The day before he passed away, I saw an ad between Jalen Rose and Kobe, and Jalen seeing Kobe at a bar, saying how many, and then Kobe was like, "Hey, let's sit down, and we're gonna get 81 glasses." And Jalen's like, "Are you kidding me?" Like,
he orders a martini. The waiter goes, "How many olives do you want?" He just looks at Jalen Rose and goes, 81.
Yeah, and that was a fun. That was a fun.
It's also very sad, because I think Kobe had he had really good acting chops. Like So the world lost a legend gone too soon.
Right.
All right. Thank you for sticking around with us. Stick around with us once more, because we're having Thomas Fitch,
the legend,
come back into the studio. He's going to sit right here. We're going to go through every single possible thing you could imagine about Super Bowl prop betting. So stick around. We're talking national anthem. We're talking who's going to score first. We're talking about touchbacks, kickoffs, all that. Stick around. The One and Only Sports Show coming right back. Be like, and you never know, maybe a moment of silence for Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
That wouldn't count.
I think it does. I don't know.
Depends on
when she does it.
Yeah.
If it's at the end or the beginning, I don't know. But I'm going to go over if that's my pick. It was a long-winded thing. All right. Will any scoring drive be quicker than the national anthem? So basically, if we're choosing the over, do you think there will be any scoring drive underneath like 2 minutes?
With Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that there might be one under a minute, but I'm definitely taking, because I think the national anthem is going to be longer than 2 minutes. I think the Chiefs score in less than 2.
Again, I said it's going to be a shootout, but I still think it's going to be more, especially in the beginning, it's going to be trying to establish the run game, and that's not a good recipe to score quick. So no.
I'm going to say yes. I think that there's going to be one drive probably in the third quarter where the Chiefs just go off and score in like a minute 4 seconds for no reason, like probably like a 4-play, 53-yard drive. I'm going to try to get really specific so if it happens I can go back and like, say I predicted it. But yes, I think there will be a scoring drive quicker. It's going to be a fast-paced game. All right, number 3, will the opening kickoff be a touchback? Now that's a weird question, but
Now, again, did a little bit of research. Generally, the opening kickoff is not a touchback, despite the fact that most kickoffs in the NFL are touchbacks because all these guys have adrenaline. They get the ball, they want to run it out. So I think it'll not be a touchback.
It's not going to be a touchback. No, I said it is going to be a touchback.
Ah.
No,
I guess you heard
I wanted to see you,
heard
like,
my research.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just like
No.
explain why and then backtrack and say actually yes.
No. It's gonna be a touchback because you don't want to get hurt on the first play. It's the Super Bowl. You want to give the ball to your quarterback, healthy. And so no, it's.
I think
so
you're
yes,
disregarding
That's
adrenaline
not-
here.
I don't think that's Mamba mentality to say I don't want to get hurt.
Well, no, you want to stay healthy for the whole game.
Yeah, but you want to score. Be Devin Hester, Super Bowl 41, run it back.
See, that's non-Colts bias.
Yeah,
again.
that's non-Colts bias. That's what I mean. All right, I'm gonna say no. I saw Pat McAfee. He was telling a story about when he did the kickoff for the Colts
right.
in Super Bowl 44. He was just so nervous to kick it. He didn't want to embarrass himself. And I went back and watched it. It wasn't a touchback. I don't think it will be just because whoever's kicking it is
That's
just
right. I
gonna
didn't
be
even
a
think
little
about the
nervous.
kickers too. They'll probably
Yeah.
kick it shorter to make sure they don't shank it out of bounds.
Yeah, and then you have like different strategies. Who knows? Maybe like Shanahan tries to do something weird, like lob it in the air and like make him fair catch it. Don't give it to Tyreek Hill. You never know. All right, number 4, who's going to score first? This one's always just a toss-up depending on who you got. Who do you think's going to score first?
So first 2 games of the playoffs, Texans scored first. Texans scored a lot of points first. Obviously, Titans scored first. 49ers are going to score first on the Chiefs, but obviously, as we'll get to later, I think the Chiefs are going to win.
I mean, it's a 50-50 shot. I think whoever's going to get the ball first is going to score first. But knowing that's the
Interesting.
Chiefs and it's Mahomes, I'm just going to go with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think whoever scores first, I don't think it's going to be that huge of a deal. You know, the Chiefs didn't score first their last 2 games. That's why I think eventually they will. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. All right, number 5. What's going to happen first in the game, a touchdown or a sack?
I'm going TD.
All right.
I think the way that these, especially the Chiefs offense moves, I think they get down the field or the 49ers, but I think that's going to happen before a sack.
I think, again, like I said earlier, for the Niners, they're going to start establishing a run game. So they're going to can the ball off a lot. You're not going to get a sack there. Mahomes is not going to get sacked that much, at least not so early. So the touchdown's going to come first.
I see Garoppolo getting sacked on maybe this like 5th, 6th play of the game, like on a 3rd down by the Chiefs. I think that the Chiefs, rush defense is going to get to Garoppolo. I'm going to take a sack here. I don't know. I gotta get back in it somehow. I'm already 3 down to Thomas after 1 week. Okay, next one. Will there be a special teams or defensive touchdown in this game, Thomas?
I'm going to say no, and you did bring up that you're 3 down to me. I noticed how you conveniently skipped over the fact that I went 8-2 last week. You went 5-5.
Yeah, it's 5-5. It's not bad. I mean, it's losing in Vegas, but you just see how good Thomas is at this. It's not that I'm bad. Thomas is just world class.
Which is a little bit weird. How old are you?
21.
Yeah, you'd be that good at betting at 21. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, it's all guessing. It's all guessing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be a special. I want there to be. I don't think there's going to be one.
He's humble.
I think there will be one. I think you're talking about a 48-minute game. No, 60-minute
60-minute
game.
Yeah, this ain't basketball.
You're talking about a 60-minute game and the defense is not going to score a touchdown. It's a Super
Yeah.
Bowl. Defense is going to show up too. So I'm going to say there will be a defensive touchdown.
I'm going to say no. I mean, it's tough to get a defensive touchdown, special teams, and I don't like betting on stuff like that. Like, it's just so weird, and like it has to happen just out of the blue. So I'm going to say no. All right, Alex Rodriguez, he's brought into the mix here. How many times will he be shown during the halftime show? So Jennifer Lopez performing over under 1/2. So will they show
Easy,
him?
Oh,
easy
1/2?
over, easy
Easy
over.
over.
They'll show him at the beginning, and they'll show him somewhere about 3/4 of the way through.
He's going to show up one time.
Does anybody know his whereabouts? Like, is he going to the
He's
game?
got.
definitely-
He'll
He's
be at
going
the
to
game,
It's
He'll
a
be at the
Super
game.
Bowl.
and it's in Miami. Like he'll be at the game.
Yeah.
You know, I was gonna put under, but you convinced me.
Wow.
They're gonna show him. It's Alex Rodriguez.
Yep.
I mean, you have the star power. You always show who's in the
Yep.
building. Who knows? Maybe he goes on stage. Hits, you
No,
know.
no. We'll get.
All right, we'll get. Maybe that should be another one. Okay, number 8. We're sticking with celebrities. Will DJ Khaled appear at the halftime show? We the Best Music, another one. Does he show up?
Oh, he'll be there.
You think he's gonna?
He'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be there. He'll say 2 words. He'll say "We the best" or something
Yeah.
like that, just over and over. But it's Miami. DJ Khaled will be there.
No, I don't. And honestly, I don't really mind about this
Yeah.
the halftime show. So
I gotta send a shout out to Steve Helwig. He said it first. They needed to put Pitbull in the
Pitbull,
Super
I
Bowl.
know.
This is Pitbull in the Super Bowl. He has hits.
Mr. 305.
Hits on hits. Mr. 305. The dude's a legend. I'm gonna put yes.
But maybe it's
just
because he's tied to the NBA because of
Yeah.
the whole Timber playoff.
That's
remix.
true. I'm gonna say yes just so if he shows up, I'm not the biggest DJ Khaled fan. I have something to celebrate. I'm like, well, at least I got it right. Okay, Bubba Watson longest drive. I'm guessing they're playing this
Yeah,
week.
the Phoenix.
Okay.
It's the Waste Management
Okay,
Open.
Waste Management Open. So in Arizona, so a dry heat. The ball's gonna go a little bit further. Longest drive or Mahomes passing yards in this game?
I think Mahomes actually, despite his efficient play, hasn't gone over 300 yards in a couple weeks. Plus, he's going up against a tough 49ers defense. The last tough defense that Mahomes went up against was the Patriots. They held him to under 200 yards. Bubba Watson, you mentioned that dry heat. He's going to have at least a 330-yard drive in the final. He's going to have the adrenaline pumping. I'm saying Bubba Watson is going to have a 350-plus yard drive. Take the Bubba
No,
Watson
that's a bold
drive.
play.
I'm going with the Big 12 player, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, I was
So-
like Bubba Watson.
That's
Yeah.
a Georgia Bulldog.
Yeah, no, I'm going Bubba Watson. Okay, let's do a rapid fire for the next
Yep.
3 so we can save some time for the big picks. Jimmy Garoppolo passing touchdowns over under 1.5. Let's just do
Over.
it real quick. Over?
Yep.
Under.
All right, I'm going to take under as well. Total interceptions in the game. This one's tough. Over under 1.5.
Mahomes has not thrown an interception this playoffs. He's going to throw one. Garoppolo throws one.
It's going to be under.
How
But
did
it's
you
going to be a pick
convince me?
6.
He convinced me in one sentence. I was like, yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to go under, though. I need to get back in this. All right. And then the last one, rapid fire. Longest touchdown, over under 44.5 yards. That's a long touchdown.
Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Travis Kelce. The Chiefs have so many weapons. They're going to have a long touchdown.
Under. They're not.
Yeah, I think, you know.
You
in
take
these-
way too
yeah.
many unders.
No, but in these Super Bowls, like.
could stay consistent.
just
You
never
always
get-
take
you
the.
never
If
get
I
those
learned anything
explosive-
from our friend Barstool Big
Yeah,
Cat,
that's true.
always
You
take
you
the
take
over.
the over.
Take the
I
over.
don't hammer the over on longest touchdown. I don't think you ever get that explosive like in these games. All right, Super Bowl MVP. We're getting to the nitty gritty here. Who do you think is going to hold up that trophy at the end?
You know, as much as I want to say Patrick Mahomes, I think what's going to happen is it's going to be a receiver. It's going to be some player that's going to steal the show, and I think that's going to be Travis Kelce. He's played great this playoffs, and I think he gets the MVP trophy on Sunday.
Alex Rodriguez is not going to be an MVP. It's just going to be Garoppolo. I picked the Niners over the Chiefs, and quarterback mostly wins it, so I'm going to pick Garoppolo, yeah.
I think we got lost, but you almost chose Alex Rodriguez
Yes,
there.
I did. Yeah.
I think Patrick Mahomes is going to hold serve here. I think if they're going to win, he's going to have to play incredibly well. I don't think any one player is going to have those stats enough to overtake him. I'm doing Mahomes. Okay, we're doing game over-under. The over-under set at 54.5, so Vegas sees this. It can be really crazy. This is going to be a high-scoring game. Do you like the over or the under?
If I was a betting man, I'd put money on the under. But we watch the Super Bowl to have fun.
Yeah.
You hammer the over. Hammer the over.
No, I said it's going to be offensive shootout, so it's going to be over. Yeah.
Some of us watch the Super Bowl to make money, and I am a betting man. I'm going to take the under here. I don't know. I just don't trust this game. I just think this is one of those where they're saying, oh, high flying, and then we
You know what
come in
happened the
and
last
it's
time
like
49ers
10-0.
played a high-flying offense? High-scoring game against the Saints.
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm trying to change Robert's mind on
Yeah.
everything.
I'm like, no. I'm going to hammer the under. All right, game line. Time running out on the clock. We got to do this Mamba mentality. Game line, Kansas City -1.5. Who do you got?
Chiefs. They're winning it all.
Chiefs, Niners.
Oh, I got the Chiefs. I can't disagree with you more. I think you're so wrong. I'll wager something
mean,
on it.
Do it right now. What's the bet? What's the bet?
No, I don't know
I don't
on
bet,
that one.
though.
No,
Something
no,
fun.
No, something fun. We'll
Like
come
next
up with
time,
it.
next
We'll
time
come
you
up
have to
with it.
wear like an embarrassing T-shirt on air.
We'll do it.
I
We'll
do that
figure
all
it
the
out.
time.
We'll let you guys know. It's about 10 o'clock. Thank you for watching with us this hour. Thank you for joining us here. Be sure to prop bet everything that we just said. Stick with Thomas. He's a little bit, well, if he's 8-2, he's going to regress to the mean.
That's true. That's
So
how- that's
just
what always
fade
happens.
him and do the opposite. So from all of us here in Master Control Studio, it's been a great morning. Have a wonderful morning. And for Daniel Shee, thank you for being on with me, man. And Thomas Fitch, Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.